Alright, hello everybody. This is DJ Bert Productions, or mostly just DJ Bert at the moment. I am a current rapper and beat maker. I've been using Fruity Loops 9, or mostly Fruity Loops at both of my houses. I've been using Fruity Loops for about a year or two now, so I'm into the beat making production. Most of the program, I don't have any other synthesizers or stuff added. I haven't been able to get to that, so some of these songs I went on a limb to make. Today, I'm going to show you a song, and I will go through all the parts and everything, and then I'm going to show you the song on Fruity Loops. So I'm going to open up Fruity Loops here, and I have FL Studio 9. Now, on the actual song that I can show you real quick, on the actual song was made in the proper place in Fruity Loops. It was made here, okay, where most beats are made. Now, of course, it wasn't on a best fit, but it was in this area. Now, what I did on the new version was I put it over onto the other area where the bars are going down instead of across, and I put color to it. So it makes it look colorful. So we're going to go through the parts. Now here I'll name them. There's the first synth part that's kind of low. Synth part 2. Some of these parts I named and I had on the song, but I might not have used that part. It might have been a variation of a part, but I didn't use it. There's a Toxic Biohazard chords Toxic Biohazard 2. Toxic Biohazard main part, Biohazard 3. The reason I call those that is because I actually used 3 biohazard instruments layered together into one. I have a reverse crash and then a crash. We have a reverb piano. We have a vintage snare 1, main synth 2 effect, synth 3 vintage snare 2, beat 2, hit noise, which is this one, and then odd noise, beat, and a beat. Alright, so we're going to open this up. We're going to start off down here on the first pattern, which is the SDR and assembly synth part. Now, this synth part is the full version. It plays low in the background, and that will give this song a lot of flavor. This synth part basically just, has notes that are substantial and go through, and it just usually has a lot of notes that are in 3s and 2s and 1s all the way to the end, and this is the first synth part. Now we'll turn this up for you. Alright, now we'll turn that back down to normal. Alright, that's pretty good for the loudness. Alright, and that part really is just going to be a flavorful part. It's just going to go back and forth. You'll kind of hear it and kind of not. Alright, pattern 2 is the same. It is basically just a shortened version. Alright, now we'll show you the shortened version of this. Sounds, part of it, because certain parts of the song, I decided to stop it, so it sounds like this. Alright, and that's basically that part. Alright, we're going to move to pattern 3. Pattern 3 is where the beat starts. Now, the beat itself, I have these instruments. I will go through the instruments I will actually, right now, I'll go through all the instruments used. The first one is a kick, another kick, a hat, snap, another hat, a shaker, a clap, a vintage. The first layer is the kicks. The second one is the hats. The third one is the claps. I have one of those. Another hat. And one of these. Now this one's not used that as its own part, but this is a layer for this one. And then a pat. Now we'll go through the other instruments later. For this part, the beat, basically then I have some toms down here. And this is the tom. Now, what I did to this was I made the beat just moving along, da 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 da, boom, ch, boom, boom, ch, boom, boom, is what the beat was. Now, what I did when I was working on the song, the story was that maybe a month ago or so, I worked on it. I was at home, and my sister apparently was supposed to get me the night before, and she didn't, and luckily she was going to get me the next night on that Saturday, so I decided to work on it, and I, of course, had Fruity Loops before then, but I re-got the whole program on there with all the added extras different. So I went, and there was a video I saw on YouTube on how to get, use the, when I was starting, I made a beat at my one house called One Life Didn't Make It, a whole song that had reverb on everything had reverb on it. And what I did was I went and I learned how to use the Fruity Parametric. So the beat itself, the kick was kind of dull, but the kick would hit when the tom hits. Now, not all the time, but the substantial length of the tom was able to blanken out the sound of the kick. I did have some, I think this beat was the one that I didn't use because you heard the kick. And what I did here was I had under the mixer was my Hip Kick 5. I believe it was one of these kicks right here, and it had a lot of Fruity Filter, Send, Phaser, Sungleiser, Fruity, but under here I made my own settings, and the kick itself sounds like, you heard what it sounds like already. And then, so I'm just going to play this beat for you. And I didn't really like it when it was just hitting the kick. So I kind of left that out, but I kept it in the future in case I changed it. The next pattern is a toxic biohazard part. This part plays in chords of these notes, and the instrument sounds like this. Now, the way this instrument sounds is, if this instrument is hit on single notes or notes smaller than 2 notes, it basically goes like it almost plays part of the note. It doesn't like play it in substantial. It stops where it stops playing it. So it kind of goes da da da, whatever the part is what it would do. So basically it just does that all the way to the end, and this is what this part sounds like. And then there's like a little fade out of reverb at the end. That will go in very nice, flavorfully at the end. The next part is chords. Now what I did through part of this song was I had some parts that would play the same part but in a different instrument. And of course those other instruments would play single notes when I would have piano parts play chords. Now, there were some parts where I took the bottom note of each individual 2 bars and did that. So this is basically what the main toxic biohazard part played. The main part of the song, the main vibe, the part that really made the song intense. But this is what the chords with reverb, I think, on it sounds like. Okay, now right here, as some of you noticed, there's this one note that I played. What I did to this note, because it was standing out too much, I lowered the velocity a bit, and if I uppered the velocity, you would listen to the difference of this. And you notice that stood out way too much. So what I decided to do was I lowered the velocity, and then if you listen to it again, it sounds a little bit better. Now, the reason it sounds different is because the note itself is not playing on the same octave as these, which is why it stood out too much. Alright? The next part, pattern 7, this is where the main biohazard part comes in. Not the actual main, this is a part that includes every instrument, including a boo bass. Okay? But what it basically means is that it just includes the boo bass. Now, this is the main part. When I started this song, the first part that I had was the first toxic biohazard instrument and the beat. So that sounds like this. Alright? So I'm going to take these other ones out and just have you listen to it with just the main part, and you just see how this sounds.